What is it? Is it the Lord or is it Santa that opens the door? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. No, I think Santa goes down the chimney. You leave the door open for Elijah, and God comes through the window, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
When you close the door after Elijah doesn't show up to the Seder, God opens a window, I think is what happens.
You know what? That's the phrase I've heard my whole life.
That's the saying. I grew up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect. Yeah, so just prepare to...
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just like jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to...
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You are listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. And this is episode 562, coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials and season ticket holder. This show, we're going to just dig deep into the muck. We're going to talk about what we think the plans for this the Pacers team is. Are they redeemable? And due to the new additions, are they going to be enough to push the team over the edge? Or should they even bother? Joining me this show are two of our three analysts, still coast to coast, like butter toast. First, from the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatables? Shout out to Hope. There must be hope somewhere in this Pacer season.
Yeah. From Moorhead City, North Carolina, he's our in-house bartender mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles, John Colson.
What is up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Undebeatables? Joe was so sad last episode. We didn't wish anybody a Happy New Year. And I think we can make a resolution this year to be happier fans.
We can look for the silver linings and all the bad news out there.
Well, just like the diet I went on 2 days ago, this one's also probably going to fail right away.
Oh, 2 days. You started on New Year's Eve?
I don't. Whatever. Today's Thursday. Thirsty Thursday. Drink up.
Okay. And before we get into the show, I'd like to remind you that you can support us by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables for as little as $1 per month. Thank you to everyone who's done that. We're looking for to make some hardware equipment upgrades. So thanks to everybody. If you join over there, you will also get access to our community Slack, where we have lots of fun discussions about the goings-on of the teams, all the news and the rumors and all that sort of good stuff. Chat it up over there. Again, that's Patreon.
You can hit the panic button in real time. It's great.
It's true. I might make a Panic Room channel. Maybe I'll do that.
Get all of Pacer Nation in there. I think we could do that.
Yeah, I think we could. So, yeah, Jason, you pointed out that the last show, my favorite Pacer all time just rejoined the franchise. The last time we did this, we had an emergency show because he got signed.
Yes, we did.
And
we did.
I wore my Lance jersey. I was grinning ear to ear. I was having a wonderful time, and he made a huge impact on the team, and the rest is history. And then he, is gone, and then went to China and stuff. But he's back.
He's back, baby.
It's just I feel like it's just sort of a little asterisk right now. Part of it is this team right now is it's I don't know how much good's going to come from this, and nothing from his end. Like there's a lot of uncertainty about like how long this stint's going to be. It's right now I feel like it's a bit of a sort of fun curiosity, which I love having him there. He looks great in the Pacers uniform. I love what he does on the floor. But there's no certainty he's going to stick around for very long. So that's a little bit of it. There's no like real contract signing, like not more than a 10-day at this point. Also, I don't know if this team is like fixable.
Well, Joe, I mean, you were referring to the last time he came back. We were doing the podcast when he came back, and that team was full of introverts, just like this team is. I mean, this franchise has become obsessed with finding good guys, which is great. But we don't have a lot of loose cannons. We don't have a lot of yellers and screamers. And we brought Lance back, and he galvanized a group of introverts. So there is a chance. I don't think it's ridiculous to think that he can have the same impact on this team. And Kevin Pritchard knows that. That's why he brought him back.
Yeah, but I wonder, in COVID times, I have no idea. What is it like in the locker room? Like, is it a typical locker room? Like, do guys spend time together in the locker room? Or is it like everybody just goes their separate ways? And it's like amplified because we have a bunch of introverts on our team. But I wonder if there's even
can't hug and stuff.
An arena or a template or whatever for Lance to work his magic. Like, is there even I'm messing up the analogy here, but a 3-ring circus that he can step into and be the ringleader? I don't know.
I that's a good question. And good observation. I don't know, if people are going to be sticking around to have that conversation,
But I mean, all he has to do is punch somebody in practice, Like, we just got to get these guys got to get wound up. They need to get fired up.
I think that's harder on a 10-day contract, though.
Yeah,
I feel like,
yeah. You're still trying to get a job at that point. Yeah. So maybe that's not the route that Lance goes. But yeah, no, it bummed me out even more that I had this vision of Joey, putting the kid to bed early, so he could get his popcorn ready and sit down in front of the TV and watch every minute of Lance and soak it up. And then we get on the pod and he's just very like the rest of us, basically. Just like, what is going on with this team?
Bummer of a week, I believe, is what he said. Yeah,
exactly. And if Lance Stevenson, the addition of Lance Stevenson to this team can't bring Joey Gufreda joy, this team, I fear, is irredeemable. I feel like, and I want your advice, Coulson.
Ugh.
I've talked you off the ledge many a time, but I am ready to venture out further onto this limb to mix all my metaphors yet again.
You're all over the mixed metaphor.
And start.
Are you on a ledge or
like you were
you
being happy about DeMar DeRozan hitting a ridiculous wrong-footed three-pointer because he forgot how much time was left and beating us at the buzzer? Because it gets us closer. It gets us more lottery balls.
I did drop the idea of tanking last show. I'm going to link to the Tank Diaries. They're pretty entertaining. There's a lot of them about the Oklahoma City Thunder. I read them feeling like, oh, this is something that I won't experience. I'm going to experience this through this author instead of in real life. And suddenly I'm wondering if I'm reading it as advice, Is there a world in which Lance Stevenson galvanizes the team in a second 10-day contract and then he comes up for the rest of the season? Is there a world in which we make a trade for an alpha dog, or we trade for a few pieces that re-energize the team and we make some sort of late run. Sure, I suppose that's possible. But we're nearly halfway through the season. And I think, as we've talked about a million times before, and it's something that this franchise has never done, but I think we really need to start looking at our opportunity at a top 5 draft pick, because that's how small franchises compete, is by drafting elite talent, not by trading for it or signing it in the offseason. I haven't done enough research on how good a draft this is, but usually if you can get in the top 5, you can get somebody that's franchise changer. So do we need to start not purposely having COVID and, but like if somebody's injured, maybe keep them out a little bit longer. Let's see a little bit more from Gummy Bear and Sykes and, I mean, it's possible that, TJ Warren probably needs the rest of the season to get better, sort of thing, and you could do that by trading those guys away and going for draft picks. But what Pritchard has said is he's looking for an alpha dog. I'm wondering if you want to trade for an alpha dog with one of your trades and the other one trade for draft picks and hope that and hope the alpha dog gets a minor injury for the rest of the season, and then you have the best of both worlds. I don't know. I just think
who's this mysterious alpha dog
it's
Kevin Pritchard thinks he's going to pick up?
Russell Westbrook.
Why do we want to do that?
I'm just saying, like, he wants a winner. He wants a Paul George or an Oladipo. Is what he said.
Okay, all right,
that's what he
sure.
said. So,
the good parts of that, right?
Just the good parts before they left us. Yeah,
Right.
The parts where they were both saying, "This is my city." That part. He wants that.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, are you ready to go there as a fan, Jason, or is it still too early? We just don't root for this? Like, where are you at on this emotionally? Because I think I'm starting to come to the acceptance phase. I think I'm through anger. I think I'm through sadness.
I mean, it's tough, right? Like, I love this team. I root for the Laundry. I want us to do well. I watch every game that I can with hope and optimism that we'll turn a corner. But it's sort of the opposite of that season, that magical season the first year with Oladipo, when you felt like regardless of the score or the situation, we were going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the opposite. It's regardless of the score or the situation, I feel like we're going to find a way to lose every game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's just like watching a car wreck in slow motion and then being upset. Like, of course I knew they were going to do this. Like, so in a way, if I could flip that experience on its head and those losses became beneficial to our end goal, then it'd be a more enjoyable experience. The thing that's missing is that there's no like sort of young talent that we're developing that we're excited for, that I can say like, oh yeah, in 2 years, Chris Duarte is gonna, be a super duper star. Instead, it's in 2 years Chris Duarte is gonna, start receiving Social Security checks because he's, super old. But like, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
You've got
gone back and forth.
Isaiah Jackson. You got they say he's the most versatile defensive player that's ever played basketball. We got Duarte, who's going to be a solid senior citizen in the game. I mean, he's going to be a very solid player in his old age. And Miles Turner and Sabonis are both 25. Like, they haven't hit their peaks yet. I don't know. You're right. There's no star in the waiting, right? There's no. But
even with all the dudes that we have out, like, I don't have a vision of like, okay, once we have all of our horses doing all of their things the best of their abilities, I don't have a vision of what that looks like. That still looks like a slightly better than 500 basketball team to me. Which is where I was on this team going into the season. I think I had them at 500 or like they seem like a 500 team to me. So there's not a lot to get excited about.
Well, we have the talent to be a 500 team, and we're way below that.
Yeah, but I guess I'm tired of being a 500 team. I'm tired of being like getting it barely eking into the playoffs. Although I guess some of these years we were like a 4th or 5th seed, and then just getting ousted right away. Like,
yeah, but I mean, so you talked a little bit earlier about that magical season where your expectations were low with Oladipo, and we started winning all those games on the stretch, right? Like growing up, if Reggie Miller was on your team, you always thought that you could make up 8 points in 9 seconds, right? So like. There was just always a hope and a belief that you were going to be able to come back and win. And that season felt like that for me, right? So what the idea is, you build a solid team, and then something magical can happen because you believe in it. And this is a solid team, and the opposite is happening right now. Everything that's magical is going on the other team. For the other team, we are getting all of the hard breaks. We're getting, we've talked about this, all of the bad calls in the last 2 minutes. We're also just not. We're doing it to ourselves. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're throwing the ball away, almost 20 times a game, in some of these games. Or we're spotting the other team 18 points and then playing hard for the rest of the game. That was the thing with that Charlotte game, right? It's like we looked good after we, already had given up a massive lead. It's just that the things that should be going well, that could be going well, that could make our record, at least a few games over 500, have all gone against us. And that's partly the makeup of this team. It's partly some bad calls, but I'm really starting to be concerned about the coaching. Like I'm just really concerned that this is a Rick Carlisle issue.
And that he's just not a good coach and can't come up with a good game plan.
He's clearly a good coach. I mean, he's won a title, and I thought his Mavericks teams always overachieved, almost always. I think he's a good game manager. I think he did great with us at the Pacers when he was here with us before, but I'm seeing a lack of creativity on the offensive end. I'm seeing a lack of effort on the defensive end. I'm seeing a team that is sloppy on offense, and I'm seeing a team that's getting out boarded every game.
I mean, I agreed, but the roster issues are deep at this point. Like just people missing, injury, and COVID.
Every team in the league is dealing with that right now, Joey. And you know what? Most of them have more wins than us. Almost all the teams have more wins than us.
Yeah. Right now the Pacers are. Right now the Pacers are would be 7th from the bottom if the season ended today, and they're only a game or a half a game ahead of Portland, Oklahoma City, and New Orleans. So if we lose one more game, all of a sudden we're looking at we're the fourth worst team in the league, and. Did not good.
Minnesota's better than us.
Yeah, that's right. That is a true statement at this point in time. So to get back on this coaching thing, so you think that Carlisle basically just has lost the locker room, or
I don't know. I don't think he ever had the locker room. I don't think he ever had the locker room.
And so guys aren't going out there to fight and win for their coach or the other guys on the team because they just don't care.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that our GM came out and threw basically every player under the bus.
Right, and ideally in a goal to galvanize them all, but that because his coach couldn't do it. I mean, that's a problem, right? You bring in a big name coach with a bunch of guys you like that you've kept, even though the season previous was, underwhelming. We put it all on this brand new coach that doesn't have the locker room and is, bitching and moaning and making himself abusive to his other coaching staff and maybe some of the players, and that he never really had the locker room. So we bring in a big-time coach who isn't able to get the locker room before the season starts. He said, this is going to be really easy to create culture. They're just going to play defense, and that's all we're going to work on. And this team is not good defensively. I see it in stretches. There's moments where it looks like they give a shit, but they can't sustain it for 48 minutes. We signed this guy to what, a 4-year deal? Because he's one of the coaches that matter. And, now we're going to trade away our whole team because he doesn't know how to use Sabonis. This is a real problem for me. And I'm starting to think it was maybe the wrong move. I know I've been super excited about the Carlisle thing since it started, but I'm starting to give up.
Joey, can you talk him off the ledge or no?
I mean, I think it's a little early for that. I think it's a little early for that. This. I mean, look, I get that other teams are dealing with the same hardships as well, but there's just been a lot of turmoil. There's been a lot of turnover, a lot of turmoil for this franchise recently, and I feel like the team has had the rug pulled out from under them a bunch of times. T.J. Warren was all of a sudden, he was a revelation, and then,
gone for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Even less recently, but Oladipo and Sabonis, those guys both, we got these on a trade, didn't expect much, and we got 2 All-Stars is what we got.
Yeah.
At least for a time. And I just don't think the team has had really its solid footing for some time, where they really sort of knew who they were and were ready to build onto something. And part of that was, one of the links to that is Miles Turner and Lance Stevenson. These guys were there back in those days. I think it's just going to take time. I think it's just going to take time.
So silver lining, if you wanted to silver lining this and say okay, this team has been in, I think it's 10 games decided by 3 points or less or something like that. 10 or 11 games, and they've won one of those games, right? Mm-hmm. So if they, if it were more of sort of a coin flip type situation and they had gone 500 in those games, we would be 500 overall. Instead of being 14-23 as we sit now, we'd be, right. 18-19 or something like that. Basically.
And in the mix for the playoffs. And
we are, if you look at our plus minus differential, we're still positive, just barely positive, right? But we are positive, right? And if we were a 500 team and we just added Lance and said this is the piece that we need to really get these guys going, I think this conversation would be completely different, right? The problem with that sort of argument is the reasons that we have lost these coin flip games, if you will, where it's, within 3 points or something, 3 points or less, is we're just bad, as we've talked about ad nauseum on this show. We're bad in the last 5 minutes. We put ourselves in those situations to lose those games.
It's execution on offense, it's execution on defense, and it's the 50-50 effort balls. We're losing all 3 of those down the stretch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, in some ways, you could say statistically we're just hard luck or whatever, right? And that will even out over the season. If we play 10 more of these games, we'll be 9-1 or whatever, right? I don't see that happening with this team. I just don't. There's not an alpha dog, I guess. To Kevin Pritchard's point, there's not a dude that we know we're going to go to and get a bucket from in the last 5 minutes. There's not a collective will defensively that we know we're going to get a stop and a rebound when we need to get a stop and a rebound. And that sort of psychology feeds back on itself and makes this situation worse, I think. You could see it in, I forget what game, the Golden State game Golden State was down that entire game, but you could
We were
see it
playing
in
so
on
well
our
against them.
in our guys' eyes and in their guys' eyes that everybody on that floor knew what was going to happen in that game. Same thing was kind of true of that Chicago game. Like, Chicago was unfazed by us being up by 5 or 7, whatever it was, with a minute left. They're just like, okay, cool. We'll force a turnover, get a dunk, hit a 3, boom. We got this, no problem. And our guys are fighting against it. They're like, "How? I don't want to mess this up."
No,
Like,
that's the thing.
we're
We
gonna
talked
screw
about how
this
they
up.
don't have fun. Part of it is because they
Right.
just assume they're going to screw this up.
Yep.
They don't want to be the guy that screws it up. I mean, it's a bad negative headspace to be in.
Yeah, we got to break the cycle somehow, and hopefully Lance is the secret to that. Because Lance, if nothing else, is a man of very irrational confidence. And, I mean, Joey will argue that it's rational confidence, but that's kind of what this team needs at this point, I guess. Because if one looks at the prior performance, the rational person would not be confident in this team in the last 5 minutes.
Well, you mentioned earlier that we could just look at this season and say it's bad luck, but Lance makes his own luck. So I'm excited about maybe changing the. I thought by the time you listen to this, you'll have seen a couple of more games with Lance in it, and I hope they're all really enjoyable. I hope they're all wins, but I didn't think he saw enough minutes. In the game against Cleveland, 13 minutes is not enough for Lancey Pants.
No. No. Well, and
You barely
and
get the air guitar out of the case.
Right, what's the
in
even
13
point?
minutes.
Why did they even
Well,
bring
like-
it to the stadium?
You see this like when players go and when they're not ready to shoot and when they're not confident, they miss those shots. And I think the team is like that too. You got to have the confidence. It's got to be there first. Or you're just not going to win. Like you said, we've seen Golden State and lots of these other teams who are just supremely confident in themselves. It's for a reason, because they've been there before. They know what's going to happen, and they may not win they don't win every game.
They win almost every game.
But they win almost every game. But they don't win. They sometimes lose up to 10 games this season.
Right, sometimes.
But you got to be confident, and we just don't have that right now.
Yeah.
We see.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking about in that Chicago game. Basically, the offense broke down as it does, and the ball squirted to Sabonis, who was wide open for the 3-point shot. He misses it badly. It gets offensive rebound, and we throw it back out to a still wide open Sabonis because no one's going to guard him on the 3-point line. And the crowd goes, "Yeah," like he's going to shoot it, and then he just passes it to a guarded person, and then we end up with a bad shot because he's not confident enough to shoot that shot. You got to step into it, I mean, and that's what Miles, I think, is doing better. Like, he's more ready to shoot when we get the ball out there. Maybe Sabonis will get there.
I haven't been a big football fan in a while, but I do remember having that confidence in like those Peyton Manning teams. You kind of, not they didn't win every game, but you felt like they could win any game, at any point, And now, now it's the middle of the third quarter, and the Cavs rip off 15, 17 straight points. You're like, oh, this was done. Let's go do something else.
Things were looking good for a minute.
Yeah, and like we've seen all season, like they're just bad in the fourth quarter. So, once they get behind, if they enter the fourth quarter down, you pretty much can turn off the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't, to put a bow on this conversation, I haven't completely, embraced the Tankapalooza situation. But I tell you what, we're going into this 10-game stretch that, we've talked about on Monday's pod or whatever, and there's a non-zero chance that we
Lose 14 in a
are
row.
well below 500 in this 10-game stretch and are to an unsalvageable point, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a season.
Yeah, I mean, we're right there already. I think. I mean, when Pritchard put everybody on the trading block, and he said he wanted a piece back that was going to make a difference. We haven't made that trade yet. So if before the trade deadline we've gotten so far down in the standings that we're in the bottom 3 or 4 of the losers, those trades have to change away from being for a difference maker, and they got to be for draft picks, right? And young prospects.
I would think so. I think that
I think we're
would change the calculus, but
the reason this is a conversation right now is because we're there. I think we're there. You said we're not there. I think we're there. And
I think we'll definitely be there in a week and a half.
A week and a half. Okay. Well, unless Lance can turn around the whole franchise.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. It's all on you, Lancey Pants.
10 days. We got
Born
10
ready.
days to make this happen.
You guys, I think it's time to take a break and cool off. Colson, you look a little fired up.
I'm fired up. Fired up.
All right.
I also need another beer.
Okay. Well, I can help you with one of those. I don't.
Can you pee for me too?
No. Even if I could, I wouldn't. Because that's not interested. But
You make it sound weird. I was just wanting you to pee for me.
you just want to be lazy, right?
Right.
Yeah, let's take a quick break. We'll come back in the second half here and got a start of the week for you, and we'll see what other shenanigans we get into.
No stutter step. These the rhymes I wrote while my grandmother slept. See, she put me on the game right before she left. I loved her to death, but the cancer in her breast, see it took her from me. It left a void. I was only 12 years old, just a boy. And now as a man, I stand for many things, fall for nothing. I let some people chill in the scenes, and since I can't dwell with you, would you rather I leave? That's my mode of operation on this road to be king. You see, I like to be seen, but I love to be heard. I don't want to lose nobody, hang on every single word. Cause every single verb is a piece of the puzzle. Hip-hop has been locked down with a leash and a muzzle, but I roam free. I'm like your after 9 minutes, product of the real. To keep the asinine gimmicks, what's up?
Where I'm coming from.
So you can see it,
Where I'm coming from.
and you can hear it,
Where I'm coming from.
but you can feel it, come on. I'm trying to show y'all, y'all.
Where I'm coming from.
So you can see it,
Where I'm coming from.
and you can hear it,
Where I'm coming from.
but you can feel it, come on. I'm trying to show y'all,
Where I'm coming from.
so you can see it,
Where I'm coming from.
and you can hear it,
Where I'm coming from.
but you can feel it, come on. I'm trying to show y'all, y'all.
Where I'm coming from.
So you can see
We
it.
are back from the break, and I want to start off this half with my stat of the week.
Joey, stat of the week.
This is only going to be it's good news for everybody, but it's really only affecting people in Indiana. But there's good news. I wanted to give some good news. I had a lot of just soul crushing stats. I had a lot of those.
Stats are sad nowadays.
They are. A lot of them are sad. But I did find one I liked. There was an Evansville company that is being sued, and they're out of business now. Which normally I'm not real excited about. People going out of business, but this company, StarTel Communications, which sounds super legit, right? They were working with some other companies to flood local Indiana telephone numbers with automated calls from around the world, and they were selling. They're trying to whatever. They're just scams, scam. But they were doing a lot of these car. What are they? Car warranty. So we
Gotten a lot of those calls.
Oh yeah. So this company had done approximately 4.8 million scam calls to Hoosiers. So they are now out of business, and the state did an investigation, and they promptly shut their business down. So
Nice.
So you will be getting fewer scam calls until another company fills in,
That's right.
because there's no way to stop this.
There's only 6.7 million people in Indiana. So it means
Well,
everybody
I'll tell
got
you
one. Almost.
I got lots of them.
Oh, so you got like at least 500,000. So it's
Not
mainly
a half
just
a
you.
million. I get it generally, sometimes a couple a day, maybe 5 to 10 a week. I'd say it's like pretty normal. Like I don't like it, but it's my phone's better now than it used to be. They give me some guidance that's probably a scam call. Yeah. So we'll see if a little fewer of those.
That's Joey. Actually, that's why I haven't been answering your calls. Because when it rings, it says scam likely. So I just don't answer.
Yeah. Also, but that doesn't explain why you don't answer my texts. Well,
You know what? I think it might be because I put you under contacts as scam likely.
okay.
So that's probably why.
That was his DJ name in college.
Maybe I'll name my next kid Scam Likely. I could. This is America. I'm allowed to do that. Get off my back.
Just don't use that weird number letter symbol that Elon Musk tried to use, because that got rejected by the state of California.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be able to, I think it has to be on a keyboard. I think that's like table stakes for a name. you know?
Okay, that makes sense to me.
I mean, me too. Colson, you got to stand. Or what do you do for us? You've got a Undegooglable.
Not
for us
much.
this week.
Yeah.
Oh, are we doing Undegooglables?
That was the plan.
Super excited.
You told us we had to, so
We said we signed up for it.
In the end, it's going to be better and more true than Google can give you.
This is I've been waiting to have the two of you here for this because you guys are the soccer people. I would like to know the history of the term hat trick.
Okay.
I also, as a secondary question, if you guys want to deal with this the way you want to, the history of the term nutmeg.
Okay.
Both in soccer, correct?
Yes.
Hat trick is in hockey too.
Yeah, my guess is that hat trick originated in hockey. That would be my guess.
Okay. So why is it a hat trick? It's three things. Is that the definition when you get 3 goals?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
3 goals,
Yeah.
yeah.
3
And that's
goals
true
the
in
same
soccer
game, so-
or in hockey. And it happens less often in soccer probably because nobody
Correct.
scores
Just because
goals.
there's less scoring.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the tradition in hockey is that you throw your hat. If you're a fan in the crowd and somebody has a hat trick, especially if it's your team, you throw your hat on the ice.
Really?
And, yeah. And so,
Is this allowed?
well, they stop the game and somebody has to come out with a broom and they shovel up all the hats. And
Some
then you
poor
can actually,
bastard has to go.
yeah, you can actually go redeem your hat. They put them somewhere and then you can go sift through the pile or something and try to get your hat back. I learned once from a hockey fan.
You should sew your initials in the back of your hat.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, or maybe they have a
Zamboni.
luggage carousel. It's just hats going around.
That looks. Oh nope, it doesn't have the
Nope,
pink
nope,
ribbon.
nope, not mine. Yeah. So I think it comes from that, and I don't know if it was just some crazy guy got super excited because somebody scored 3 goals in a game, threw his hat on that ice, and then that started it. Maybe that could be that simple. Joey, you're more of a hockey guy than I. So
Yeah, and it's been a bit since I've seriously watched the game, but I that all tracks from what I've seen. Yeah, you toss the hat on there. Hockey also has lots of other things that people throw on the ice. I think that's the most common. But then there's also They're like octopus. And,
Yeah, I think in Detroit they throw octopuses.
Octopi.
Is that for a hat trick? Or is it just in general they'll just chuck a octopus at some point?
I think it's in general.
Is it octopi or is it squids?
I think it's the octopus.
I think it's octopus.
They're real smart. They're probably not happy being on the ice.
Not the ones that are on the ice. They're dead.
Spoiler alert, Joey. I haven't watched hockey before, and now you've just ruined the whole thing.
I think in Philly they throw batteries or something.
They do that at any sport in Philly.
They throw batteries at Santa.
But you don't know of it like an apocryphal story of like how the hat trick started or something.
No, I don't. No. But I would say, I mean, if I got to put I'd say hockey. I'd say I'd say the 1930s, and
okay, why the 1930s?
I feel like that's when people had extra hats. Well, they were excited about things.
So I was thinking, and this is probably too literal, but I was thinking that a hat trick is when you pull the rabbit out of the hat from a magician.
Okay,
and so if you get 3 goals, you're magic. And so therefore you're producing a magical thing like the hat trick. And so I was thinking maybe the term would have come when magicians were really popular, like when they were the main source of entertainment, like late 1800s, turn of the century. And that's probably when soccer was a big deal.
The main? There's no way they were the main.
There was no movies before the turn of the century. Like, you went to see people do magic. You didn't. What did people do?
I think
they went. You know what people did at the turn of the century? They went to the dock and waved boats leaving. People they didn't even know. They had nothing to do, Joey. Magic was the biggest shit on earth.
I don't. I'm out on that one.
All right, I'm gonna go turn of the century, and it's if you can get 3 goals, you're magic, and you've produced a rabbit out of the hat trick.
And do you think it was hockey related or soccer? You think it was?
I
soccer
think it's
related,
soccer because I think it's European.
Okay.
I think
I think hockey is North America, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Canada.
Okay, and then nutmeg.
Okay, yeah, nutmeg.
Yeah.
I don't know the origin of it.
So can you explain what a nutmeg is?
So nutmeg is when you dribble the ball or pass the ball through an opposing player's legs. So you like split the wickets, if you will.
Okay.
And that one I always assumed was a euphemism, you know, of going through the nuts. Basically.
The nuts. Okay. And then they just relied on the spice nutmeg, and then it was sort of like we're talking about. He went through his nuts. What's nuts related to? We've done these things before.
Exactly.
They're just associative jokes, sort of. This is how we come up with gummy bear for Dwayne Washington.
Not we.
Hey, actually, you were both a part of it. You both said things that got me to gummy bear. So
yeah, trying to
fault.
I'm trying to keep you in the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to speak your language. I'm reaching out to you. Yeah, no, I feel like that. I mean, so that definitely does happen in hockey too, but it's not as.
Oh, is that the same thing in hockey? Like if you
it's
put
the same thing.
through?
It's the same thing. We see it in basketball.
In basketball, they refer to
call.
it like
Good
when
call.
you pass through the legs.
Yeah, you don't see it that often though, because
it's not that often. But Ginobili was really good at it. That was like I saw many of him doing that. And
people were in their big defensive stance.
Yeah,
they're real wide out. Yeah,
yeah. They got their legs spread open, and you you find the guy right behind him that is only available.
Yep.
Okay, so we think that one's through the nuts, and then we just use the association of the spice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. It's a more pleasant way to say something.
What era would that be? Much later?
When were nuts invented?
I have no idea, Joey.
So
that
you think
that one you think is a hockey or a soccer originating?
I think it's in the 70s. It comes out in the 70s. Because we were all
Yeah.
talking about a lot of nuts in the 70s.
Is that what you remember?
Yeah.
I would say soccer. You know, it happens in the other sports, but I don't think it's
Not as often.
It's not maybe not as often, but also it's not as like, you know, it's not a big deal. You know, I don't feel like in basketball. I don't feel like people. You know, when it happens in soccer, if it happens to you, it's embarrassing. You know. So I'm trying to do it
So should we
as
look
much
this
as
up?
possible. Sure.
I'm seeing for hat trick. The first use of the term comes from a specific cricket match from 1858. Bowler H. Stevenson, playing for an All-England squad, took 3 consecutive wickets at Hyde Park cricket grounds in Sheffield, meaning he hit blah, 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 blah. And then they talk about how it jumped to hockey in 1909. But this doesn't say why it's called a hat trick.
Well, also, in Toronto, there was a businessman that promoted his business by offering a hat to any player who scored 3 goals during a game in Toronto.
For sure.
Okay,
a
so from Wikipedia, it says that guy H. Stevenson, who I'm sure is Lance Stevenson's great grandfather,
You would think.
did the 3 consecutive wickets, and fans held a collection for Stevenson and presented him with a hat that held the proceedings. So they took up a collection and a hat and then gave it to the guy.
Nice.
So that's
that's
one
really
potential,
cool. Is that? I mean, that's got to be
reason why it's
right,
called a hat
right?
trick. Who knows? It's there is a citing from the Oxford English Dictionary on Wikipedia. So relatively.
Can I give you a real quick on nutmeg?
Yeah.
I've got 2 options here, one from Quora and one from The Guardian. Quora says nutmegs were such a valuable commodity that unscrupulous exporters were to pull a fast one by mixing a helping of wooden replicas into the sacks being shipped to England. So it'd be pulling a fast one, would be nutmegging.
Oh, interesting.
Now, the other one says etymology. The earliest use of the term was in a novel called A Bad Lot by Brian Glanville in 1977, called The Language of Football. And in that case, the nuts refer to the testicles of a player through which legs have been passed.
So women.
So the 1977, so the 70s guess was good on nutmeg, unless we believe in the other thing.
Well, do we know when it started being used? Like, I mean, I guess it's probably not a term that shows up in the, like the newspapers a lot, you know,
Right.
when they're describing football matches or hockey games.
It looks like Wikipedia gives it to Brian Glanville as well in 1977.
Jason, you may know Luis Suarez, but when in his time at Liverpool, but he was known. I guess they made a banner saying that Suarez can nutmeg a mermaid.
Wow, very nice. That's cool. I like that. Because mermaids only have one leg, Joey.
Yeah, that's the joke. And also on the Wikipedia page, Manu Ginobili, who we mentioned, is mentioned as one of the few, but the other person is, boom, Jamal Tinsley.
Nice.
Employs the pass between the legs.
Yeah.
The Wikipedia, also on the Wikipedia page, there's a huge list at the bottom of what the term means in other, like in lots of different countries. Some of them I get, some of them I don't. Albania, there's the term is between the thighs.
Oh, okay.
But then other ones like Austria, it's called Gurkel, which just means small cucumber.
Little Big Gherkin? Or Big Little...
Is that the thing
big,
that got hidden in the Christmas tree?
Big Little Gherkin?
Yes. In Hong Kong, in Cantonese, you say you got your drain cleaned.
Well, did we learn anything?
We did, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know that we nailed down nutmeg, but we know that the hat trick comes from cricket.
Right.
And the dude was given a hat full of money.
Full of money. I like that a lot. That's a fun answer. It's more fun than the pulling a rabbit out of a hat. And I feel like it could be a combination of the nutmeg is pulling a fast one over somebody as well as,
I think it fits nicely.
It does. I feel like they can both be true.
They fold in together.
So let's do that one.
I want to see Wikipedia here, the Ginobili and Jamal Tinsley note is original research. So it is. So it's not.
Do they give
cited.
somebody's name?
No, it just says no. There's no. It's not cited anywhere. Also, you heard the term 5-hole?
Yes.
You only hear that in hockey.
Yep.
What's a 5-hole?
It's the spot. It's between the goalie's legs.
Oh, okay.
I in that one I had always heard it was, like if there was like a cutout, like of a goalie. Like if you would do drills in hockey.
You try to get it between his legs.
Well, so there's like. They would put it's a small goal, and they would basically put like this like sort of like a piece of wood or something up that covered most of the goal, but there was some of it was open, and there was 5 holes that you could score through. And basically, there was like underneath both arms was a hole
Underneath both legs,
like
between
to
the
the
legs.
side of both. Yeah. On the outside of both legs, and then so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 was the middle one.
Okay. See, you know what? I thought 5-hole was a singing mouse. Somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight, I
Wrap it up,
think
Joe.
of you and loving
Alrighty.
me tonight.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back with you next week, next Monday. And we're going to be discussing all sorts of good stuff next week. Harper should be back with us to keep Colson in check. It's a full-time job. But until then, you can hit us up on social media. We are on Twitter at Undebeatables. We're on Facebook.com/The Undebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's also a contact form there. You can use that to send us a message. You can send us an email. Shout out at theundebeatables.com, and you can check out some merch at the website /store.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, I hope you're on the phone with Pritchard all the time, buddy. And for our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Sick-Leonard. Somewhere out there beneath the pale moonlight, there's someone thinking of me and loving me tonight.
Well sung. Well sung.